If you're anything like myself, you have big goals for 2025 and there's a game plan for it. There is a strategic pathway to making things happen to see the success that you want to see, but it's not going to happen if you continue what you were doing weeks ago in 2024. And in fact, I'd be willing to guarantee that you've been doing these things for years and still not taking the action that you need to take to see the growth that you want to see. Now, I'm thinking back to when I was a young teenager. I'm talking over 10 years ago. I'm in my 20s now, but well over a decade ago, I had so much fear just in me that I wouldn't want to put myself out there. I wouldn't want people to know the real me. And it's one of the biggest regrets that I have is letting fear dictate how I was going to live my life. And some people might say it's fear of how their family views them. It's fear of how their friends or whoever views them. And the truth is, none of that matters because I let fear of other people's opinions that just didn't matter dictate me not starting the one thing that is going to blow up my success in 2025. And this is a personal brand. Now, I've been putting out content for a long time, but I haven't actually gone all in. And now I am. I am going to be going all in. This will probably be the style of video, might even be one of the last of its kind. I might still do these sit down and talk to talking head, whatever videos, and keep it going. But I'm going all in now. And I'm at a point in my life, like I said, I'm in my 20s. I can take risks. I don't have a mortgage or kids. Like, I can do these things. And it's a risk that I needed to take a long time ago. But the good news is, the best time to plant a tree, or the second best time to plant a tree, is today. And this is the thing. Fear and taking risks, despite fear, is what's going to get you to where you want to be this year. And I promise you it's the case. Because if I look at other periods of time in my life, and recently in the last few years as an entrepreneur and getting into online business and everything, the risks that I did take, calculated at that, very calculated risks, have been ones that have got me to the next level that I wanted to achieve in business, in my personal growth, in skill sets, making money, all this stuff. It's because I was taking good risks despite what other people would think, despite the fear. The fear is an inhibitor of you getting to where you want to go. Now, people know this. You know this. You know that there's been something that's been holding you back and you need to face it, like head on, and acknowledge that this is the thing that's keeping me from where I want to go in life. You have to face it. And the dream life that you desire is on the thing that you're avoiding. I'm sure you've heard this, like I've heard it a few times in the online space, and I started really thinking about that. I was like, yeah, you know what? It is very true. Because I've always been kind of reserved, kind of to myself, only child growing up and all that stuff. But I made a lot of friends. But speaking to new people sometimes would be a little bit scarier. I'd have that fear, right? I don't know. It was when I was younger, I can't even explain it. Nowadays, I'm fine. Once I realized that once you get over that fear, and the more conversations you have with people, you'll get some amazing connections in your life that could pay you dividends, and you have people in your life that can introduce you into other people's lives and connect you, and you have a business deal or something, or the more conversations that you have on dates with cute girls, you find the one who's actually one that you can stick with, and you have more of those conversations despite the fear of rejection or what have you. All these different things come into play when you think about risk and fear. And these two things are, I want to say, correlated in a sense, because we correlate risk with fear sometimes, but if you eliminate fear, the risk will also lower itself, right? I'm not telling you to go and bet the house on red or black or whatever on at the casino. Don't be doing that stuff. That's dumb. Don't be dumb. But what I'm telling you is that there are risks that you're not taking, that if you sat down and just be 100% real with yourself and ask yourself, what am I not doing that I know I should be doing that will get me the outcome that I want in life? And you know that. Like we already know this as humans, especially if you're competent. You got a little bit of sense between the ears. You don't have to be a genius. You just don't have to be too stupid. You know what I mean? And if you're not too stupid, you'll understand that you have an internal dialogue most likely every single day of the things that you know you should be doing and you're not. And you're not. Whether you're procrastinating, you're distracting yourself with things that just don't matter, get you closer to the goal. That's the stuff you have to absolutely eliminate. Where's my screen? I gotta get my screen back. You know the things that you should be doing, right? It's not rocket science. You know that there are certain things that you're avoiding, that either you're distracting yourself or you're telling yourself, I'll do it later, or you're making up excuses. The truth is you don't have as much time as you think. That's the other thing too. Like, I'm making this video and it's January 11th. We're 11 days into the year. It feels like New Year's Eve was like 3 days ago, okay? It goes by like that. So whatever you're thinking of putting off, you've most likely been doing that for a long time, years even, just like myself, where I've put off things in my life for years because I didn't want to put out that piece of content, or I didn't want to make that piece of content because I was like, somebody's going to say something. Truthfully, I actually don't care, because if they're not showing up to your funeral, that is like somebody that actually loves you, and they're not paying your bills, who gives a shit? Who actually gives a shit? Everybody can have an opinion in this life, okay? I don't believe in censorship and like, yo, you can't have that opinion on this side and blah, blah, blah. It's absolutely insane. That's like, literally, that's like 1984 George Orwell discussions that are happening these days. It's absolutely mind-blowing. No censorship. What I'm saying is, people can have their opinions, but in your life, there's only a few people that can have a say. And even deeper than that, you need to be the only one who has the say in certain situations, because ultimately, you got to make a decision, right? The pain that you could face later when you don't do the thing you know you need to be doing is going to be greater than the pain you face today by facing your fears. And the risk isn't going to be as much of a risk as you might think it is. In fact, it might not even be that big of a risk at all. And you don't even need to be fearful about it. So if you are fearful, ask yourself why. Because usually if you dial it back enough, the why as to why you're fearful really is just stupid. It's so minuscule, it doesn't even make any sense. You care about what this person, you say something, right? You say something online that you're like, oh, I can't put that out there. I'm gonna lose my job or whatever. I'm gonna scare away clients or what have you. Like, it doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter, because first of all, whatever you say, you'll find people that align with you anyways, and those people will work with you. So it doesn't matter about the polarizing half that don't mess with your content or whatever. Like, they don't even want to hear about you. That's fine. Get them out of there. You've filtered that. You don't even need to worry about them. So why even care about their opinion in the first place? It doesn't matter. It's stupid, dumb, stupid and dumb. Don't worry about that. You just need to focus on being you, making the decisions that you need to make now to be the person that you want to be in the future, instead of holding off, and the pain will be way greater down the line, right? Like, for instance, I'll give another example. When I was playing sports, I was a high-level hockey player, and I wanted to take more risk, but I stopped myself, and I gave myself excuses like, oh, it's the money, it's this, it's that, and it's the exposure. But truthfully, if I just dialed in, took more risks, worked that extra job, paid for, an extra camp or two in different places that I was getting invited to. I was getting a lot of interest from different parts of the country to go and play hockey. And ultimately, I'm very blessed, because I ended up becoming, a minor pro, and I ended up making some money, getting really cool experiences in hockey, which is awesome. But I always think back, what if I did take more risks because of the talent that I did have, the work ethic that I did have for that sport? It's translated into business now, but for the sport, it was like killer, right? And I was a leader, and I learned a ton of skills, and that was my game, right? Now, if I did go back, I could make a run, but I'm not going to do that now because I'm dialed in. But I'm making a point, because the risks that I could have taken back then could have gave me an altered path to maybe playing in even better leagues, and getting more recognition, to even maybe the NHL would have been a possibility more than it was back then, right? And I played in the best leagues in the world, minor hockey wise, where you got the notice, you got the skill development, you got all these things, but I wasn't taking enough risk. I was too fearful. I was too comfortable. I was making up excuses. I was distracting myself, what have you. Now it's like, put this brain back in my 15-year-old self and it would have been a completely different story, but that's not the point. The point is you can do it now, and you have to do it now, because waiting will only be more painful down the line, instead of the pain that you have to endure now by facing your fears and taking the risks that you're scared to take. And I mean, really, if you're an entrepreneur like me, then you know that risk is part of the game. It's just the risk that you're willing to take. It's the risk that you know you need to take, because there's going to be risk, and everything's risky. It's risky to not make decisions, right? It's the same way that marriage is risky. Everybody talks about, divorce rates are up, and my chick's on Tinder, I can't get women, and they're freaking out. It's like, dude, it's also a risk to be single for the rest of your life, and no one cares about you, and you don't have kids and to take care of you when you're old, and you're going to be in an old age home and they punch you or beat you up or whatever they're doing in those old age homes that I know is terrible some places. It's a risk either way. It's just what risk are you willing to take? Doing nothing about it or doing something? You just have to decide at a certain point. So I've decided that in 2025, in order to make this year absolutely friggin' phenomenal, number one, my brand's being built, and it's being like, I'm pouring fuel on the fire. We're building the brand. That means organically and paid ad wise, because why not? Okay, let's throw it all in there. Okay, even the kitchen sink, throw that in there too. Okay, next is going to be scaling up our new high performance offer. With that being said, I am switching a little bit of how I do my model, a little bit more leveraged and a little bit more dynamic in how I work with clients, right? Getting them to a next level of scale in their business, getting to 100K per month, getting them dialed in, putting the right processes that they need in their daily lives in place, all these good things, right? Leverage, time efficiency, skill sets, all this stuff. And including myself learning more skill sets this year, because I want to be more creative and I want to learn more skill sets that are going to get me to the next level, right? All these good things. So I'm not going to put it on the back burner anymore, because I used to make too much excuses with my business and everything like that. But the truth is, there's never a perfect time. The time is now, because time's passing anyways, but you might as well take the risk today, especially if you're young and hungry and ambitious like myself, and you know that you can take the risks. And fortunately, I'm in a position now, even financially, where I can take the risks, and my back's not against the wall where I need to worry about rent and stuff like that. I'm very grateful, thank God, that we got ourselves to a place in business that we can dial in, make the switch, and go all in. And that's what I'm challenging you with this 2025, this year, is to go all in, eradicate the fear. Don't worry about the doubts, the uncertainty. That stuff will come. Just keep striving forward, because you can. And that's it. Let's get after it.